Let's pretend we're in Sao Paulo, Brazil, looking at a building. Looking at this picture will help. It's the home of a fine modern newspaper. Let's go inside and look around. Every newspaper in good standing has an editor and publisher. Has A Gazeta an editor and publisher? Yes. Is this he? Yes. The reception room, which at the moment we seem to have all to ourselves. Nor is the library crowded. The staff is so busy getting out the paper that no one has time to read. In the business office, however, the boys are busy, probably scrutinizing reporters' expense accounts. Ah, the advertising department. Here's where they have to work. No ads, no paper. Another must on any sheet, the sports department. What, an auditorium? Yes, but just now it's crowded with little men who aren't there. There's a special edition of this paper for children. United States papers, please copy. The art department. The business in hand here is not art with a capital A, but just pictures and more pictures, pictures for the news section, pictures for the ads, pictures for the comic strips. And then the city room, where the reporters do the sitting down part of their jobs. And their boss, the city editor. News by radio, big news. A plane carrier sunk. Here, take this to the desk. The assistant editor gets the flash. The journalistic wheels start spinning. Word goes to the rewrite desk. A story right away on that plane carrier. And have we a picture of that ship? Morgue? Is this the morgue? Very well, they'll look. And of course they'll have that plane carrier. A good newspaper morgue has on file, in pictures or clippings or cuts, everything from A to Z. Animals, boxers, calamities, debutantes, excavations, floods, Goebbels, hangings, Indians, judges, kings, lumber, murderers, nitroglycerin, operas, petroleum, quintuplets, Roosevelt, Stalin, tapestries, uprisings, vultures, wines, X's marking spots, youngsters and zebras. So they have the plane carrier? Yes. While the morgue is getting out the picture of that ship, the photo engraving room is getting ready to change it from a photograph to something you can put on a press and print with. First step, photographing the photograph on glass. The photographic image is transferred to a sensitized zinc plate. The plate then has to have the non-printing parts of its surface removed. This is done by chemical action. Here are some plates, all nicely eaten away in the right places, ready for trimming and then for insertion in the printing forms. To obtain white spaces when the picture is printed, the plate is routed in this fashion. Meanwhile, somebody upstairs has been busy at a typewriter doing a story in good, vivid Portuguese on that plane carrier. The first take should be ready by now. Here it is. The copy goes to the linotype operator. As he presses the keys, the machine casts the story into type, each line in a single solid piece called a slug. Inside the machine are matrices or molds, hurrying into place to form the letters and then hustling back again, and molten lead and a vast deal of ingenious mechanism. Speedy, accurate typesetting machines and the speed and accuracy of the men who run them. These make possible the modern newspaper. Now that a couple of hundred stories have come off the linotype machines, and the halftones and line cuts are all made and trimmed, and everything is nicely assembled on the makeup table, are they ready to go ahead and run off the edition? Dear me, no. This is not the lead they'll print from. After the forms are locked, off they go to the stereotyping department. A blank matrix is laid over the type and pictures. Then all the lead and zinc locked up in the form makes an impression. Oh, a decided impression. 62 tons of it on that blank matrix. Everything on that page, type, pictures, and all, is now reproduced on the matrix. Now will they print the paper? No, not yet. Don't be so impatient. The matrix goes into a casting machine. More molten lead is in there somewhere. Now the whole page, reading matter, pictures, and all, is cast into lead again. Now they'll have something to print with. That is, pretty soon. The castings first go to another machine where they're trimmed to just the right size for the presses. Does all this seem to you fussy and time-consuming? Well, it all goes faster than you can say Juanico Robinson. Loading the press. Nearly time for the first edition to be on the street. Have to start them rolling pretty soon. But what'll they print on? Can't have newspapers without newsprint. Where's the paper? Paper? Sure there's paper. Lots and lots of it. About 20 rolls of it for each edition. While editors and reporters and proofreaders and linotypers and photographers and engravers and all the others have been putting the edition together, some of the other boys have been loading the presses with paper. Deadline for starting the first edition through the presses is high noon. Everything is about ready now. This moment, repeated every day in any big newspaper office, is like that pleasantly exciting moment in the theater just before the curtain goes up. Let her go. It's noon. The clocks say so, the sirens say so, the people outside waiting for newspapers all know so. Start those presses rolling. So the big daily grist of news goes through the milling, rolling presses. More gains for Russia on the Eastern Front. Menuno Azul picked to win the 4th today at the Jockey Club. U-boats off the coast. Quadruplets born in Chile. Churchill gets confidence vote in Commons. Dogs barking saves 8 in Rio fire. Senorita Maria Duarte engaged to be married. 9 German generals suddenly taken ill. Lots of news. Big news, trivial news, tragic news, amusing news, world-shaking news, all sorts of news for a news-hungry world. So it is here in Sao Paulo as it is in any other big city where the press is free and where the people who turn out newspapers know their trade. This is Sao Paulo, but it might as well be Boston or Indianapolis or Dallas or Frisco. If this looks like the way things are done in Chicago or Detroit, that's because this town of Sao Paulo in Brazil is energetically alive with high-power South American progressiveness. Where is the fastest-growing city in the Western Hemisphere? In the United States? No, sir. It's this same Sao Paulo in Brazil. 1,200,000 people, and 50,000 more of them each year. Modern commercial and industrial life abounds in Sao Paulo as in no other place in South America. No wonder they need brisk, up-to-date journalism, and they get it. A Gazeta is much more than a local Sao Paulo paper. It covers a wide field. By airplane and by train, it goes to all parts of South and Central America. And as for distribution within Brazil, F-I-M, pronounced FEM, being, yes, you've guessed it, Portuguese for the end.